The Katha Upanishad, Sanskrit Kaṭhopaniṣad, is one of the mukhya primary Upanishads embedded in the last 8 short sections of the Katha school of the Krishna Yajurveda. It is also known as Kaṭhaka Upanishad and is listed as number 3 in the Muktika canon of 108 Upanishads. The Katha Upanishad consists of 2 chapters, Adhyāyas, each divided into 3 sections, Vallis. The first Adhyaya is considered to be of older origin than the second. The Upanishad is the legendary story of a little boy, Nachiketa, the son of Sage Vajasravasa, also known as Aruni Auddalaki Gautama, who meets Yama, the Hindu deity of death. Their conversation evolves to a discussion of the nature of man, knowledge, Atman, soul, self, and moksha, liberation. The chronology of Katha Upanishad is unclear and contested, with Buddhism scholars stating it was likely composed after the early Buddhist texts, 5th century BCE, and Hinduism scholars stating it was likely composed before the Buddha in 800 BCE. The story begins with Vajasravasa giving away all his wealth to the Brahmins in order to obtain the rewards of Vishwajit Yagna, the fire ritual used to conquer the world. Nachiketa was the name of his son. Nachiketa noticed that Vajasravasa's cows were very elderly as they were being carried to be gifts for the Brahmins. Their bodies were exhausted and they had consumed all of their remaining food, drink and milk. The person who donates these practically dead cows would undoubtedly go to hell, the lower dimensions of existence where there is no opportunity of happiness or joy, thought Nachiketa, who was filled with trust and honesty. I must stop my father from doing such a thing, he reasoned. And to whom will you offer me as a gift? Nachiketa inquired to his father. Vajasravasa didn't say anything, but he asked him again. His father became enraged and yelled, I give you to death, when the same question was asked a second and third time. After hearing this, Nachiketa began to reflect. I have always acted in the highest manner. I may be a little remiss in some areas, but I have never engaged in any bad behavior. Why then does my father claim that he would kill me? What may be the purpose of my father using me to carry out the will of Yama, the Lord of Death? Nachiketa said to his father, mortal man ripens, withers, and then is born again, like the crops. Man should therefore not stray from goodness and commit sins during his brief existence. Father, don't be depressed. Please keep your vow and let me visit Yama, the Lord of Death. Vajasravasa was devastated when he heard his son say these things. But since he respected Nachiketa's commitment to the truth, he gave him the permission to visit Yama. Nachiketa left for the abode of Yama, waited for Yama for 3 days without food or drink, after discovering that Yama was not at home when he arrived at his residence. When Yama returned home, his wife said to him, when a Brahmin comes to a home as a guest, know that a divine being has come. So it is our duty to prepare for his rest, to give him our hospitality. The son of a Brahmin has been sitting here. He has not eaten for 3 days. Go and receive him with reverence. Yama went to Nachiketa and said, O Brahmin, you are our honored Atithi, our honored guest. You have stayed at my house for 3 days without food. Therefore, you can ask 3 wishes from me, 1 for each night. Nachiketa said, O Yama, as the first of the 3 wishes, I ask that my father, Vajasravasa, may become peaceful, joyous, and free from sorrow and anger. And when I am sent back to him by you, may he receive me lovingly as his son. Yama replied, seeing you return from the mouth of death, your father Vajasravasa, inspired by me, will receive you and recognize you as his son. He will be freed from anger and grief and will spend the rest of the days and nights of his life in peace and joy. Having had his first wish granted, Nachiketa said, O Lord, in heaven there is no fear. Even you, death, are not there. There, none are afraid of old age. Those living in heaven are beyond hunger and thirst, free from all sufferings. They are in bliss. O Lord of Death, you know the inner fire which is the path to heaven. So tell me, a sincere seeker, the science of the inner fire, the science by which those who are in heaven attain to the deathless, This is my second wish. Yama said, O Nachiketa, I know the science of the inner fire which bestows heaven. I will tell it to you so that you may understand it completely. Know that this science will give boundless heavenly joy. This fire is hidden in the innermost sanctum of your heart. Yama then explained the science of the inner fire to Nachiketa, the science which bestows heaven. He explained in detail all the processes involved. Having understood it, Nachiketa repeated the details back to Yama, and Yama was satisfied. Seeing Nachiketa's extraordinary intelligence, Yama was pleased. He said, Now I will grant you an additional honor, that the science of the inner fire be known by your name, the Nachiketa's fire. Please also accept this beautiful necklace of jewels. Yama then said, One who ignites this inner fire 3 times and desirelessly practices the fire ritual, practices sharing and practices austerity in accordance with the 3 Vedas, will become free from birth and death. By knowing this sacred fire and by choosing it with sincerity, he will attain eternal peace, the peace which I know. Yama continued, One who ignites and attains to this inner fire will cut the snares of death while still in the body. He will go beyond sorrow. He will experience the joys of heaven. O Nachiketa, this is the science of the inner fire that will lead to heaven. You have asked this as your second wish. From now onwards, this fire will be known by your name. Now, what is your third wish? Of his third wish, Nachiketa said, There is so much uncertainty about death. Some say that the soul lives on after death, and others say that it does not. I want to finally understand this through your teaching. This is my third wish. Yama thought, It is harmful to teach the secrets of the soul to one who is unworthy of the teaching. Seeing the need of a test, Yama tried to dissuade Nachiketa by telling him of the complexity of the matter. He said, Nachiketa, on this matter, even the gods have had their doubts. They also could not understand because this subject is so very subtle and difficult to understand. You may ask for something comparable as your third wish. Do not insist on this. You must let go of this desire to know the secrets of the soul. Nachiketa was not discouraged by hearing of the difficulties. His enthusiasm was not affected. Rather, he said even more strongly, Yama, you say that the gods have also thought about this, but even they could not decide, and that it is not easy to understand. But there is no one who can explain this matter as well as you. As I understand it, no other wish can be compared to this one. Nachiketa was not dissuaded by the difficulty of the subject. He remained firm to his wish to know. He succeeded in passing this test. As a second test, with the intention of exposing Nachiketa to many temptations and allurements, Yama said to him, You may ask for sons or grandsons with lifespans of hundreds of years. You may ask for many cows and other cattle, for elephants, horses, and gold. You may ask for an empire with vast boundaries. You may ask to live for as long as you wish. Nachiketa, if you consider a wish for wealth or a means of living a long life as equal to your wish for the knowledge of the soul, you may ask for that. You could be the greatest emperor on this earth. I can make the greatest pleasure of all pleasures available to you. When Nachiketa did not waver from his decision, even at this, Yama then tempted him with the heavenly pleasures of the gods. Yama said, Ask for all the pleasures which are rare in the world of mortals. Take these celestial women with you, along with chariots and musical instruments. Such women are surely not available to mortals. You can enjoy these women and be served by them. But Nachiketa, do not ask to know what happens to the soul after death. But Nachiketa had a firm will and was truly worthy. He knew that even the greatest pleasures in heaven and earth could not be compared with the smallest amount of the bliss that comes through enlightenment. Nachiketa, supporting his decision with reasoning, said these words of non-attachment to Yama. Yama, the pleasures that you are describing are ephemeral. They exhaust the sensitivity and sharpness of all the senses. Furthermore, a lifespan, however long it may be, is brief. It will end sooner or later. You can keep those celestial women, the chariots, those songs and dances. I don't want them. A man can never be fulfilled through wealth. Now that I have set my eyes on you, I have already attained abundant wealth, As long as your compassion rules, there can be no death for me. It is meaningless to ask for those other things. The only wish that is worth asking for is the one that I have already said, the knowledge of the soul. Man is subject to decay and death. Knowing this reality, where is the man living in this world who, after having met you, an immortal and noble being, would continue to long for the beauty of women, for the pleasures of the senses, and to yearn for a long life? O Lord of Death, reveal to me the ultimate truth of this most wondrous and otherworldly subject, the destiny of the soul. Man does not know if the soul lives after death. I wish only for this most mysterious knowledge. Having tested Nachiketa, Yama was convinced of his determination, his desirelessness, fearlessness, and worthiness to be taught the science of the soul. The self is immortal. It neither was born nor dies. It was not created from anything, and nothing was created from it. The soul survives the destruction of this body. All beings, including the self, which is smaller than the smallest and larger than the greatest. He who thinks he is the murderer, and he who thinks he is murdered, both are ignorant. The self is neither the slayer nor the slain. The self cannot be realized just merely reading the scriptures or engaging in academic study. The self must be distinguished from the body, which is where the desire is housed. The one who deserves it sees it. Knowing this Atma is the aim of the wise. This body is the chariot, intelligence its driver, the senses its horses, conscience the reins, and the soul the lord of the vehicle. The true self is more than just the body, mind, and senses. The all-encompassing superconsciousness, which is the source of everything in this cosmos, is greater than each individual soul, and the ultimate person, who is the greatest of all, is even greater. The object of our aim is Him. Death loses all its terrors once that Supreme Self is realized, and the realized one is immortal. The path to realization is long and difficult, like the edge of a razor, narrow and sharp. Being caught in the cycle of rebirths arises from not being able to realize Brahma. Therefore, there is no time to be lost. In Swami Vivekananda's words, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached.
Tvameva vidya dravidam tvameva tvameva sarvam mama devi